Well, good afternoon, game changers. This is your girl, Coach Della Major, aka the game changer herself. And I am so excited to be coming to you again for another teaching and episode on our Resilient Living series. Today, I'm going to be a little bit personal. I'm about to peel a little bit of the onion and allow you inside of um, my testimony, share a little bit even more, dig deep as to why I do what I do and what makes my DNA. And so might get a little bit touchy here for me, and because every time I talk about my story, it gets a little bit to this heart. And so I wanted to share something with you. I titled this that words do hurt, but I'm breaking free and reclaiming my voice for a reason. You see, when I grew up as a kid, there used to be this saying that we used to say all the time: "Sticks and stones may break our bones, but words would never hurt." But however it may be, as I became older and as I was finding who I was as an adult, um, I found that that is exactly not true. Not only that the words would never hurt me, but the words do hurt me. And in my particular case, the words did hurt. I had I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest on two sides of the family, and I had a sister that was right underneath me, and she was 11 months old. And unfortunately, she died based off SIDS. Now, back in the 60s, 70s, there was not a lot of research to that disease called SIDS, and that's sudden infant death syndrome. Um, and just in case you don't understand what that means, is that a child, an infant, it could be healthy, but then for whatever reason, they can't find why they died. And in my particular case, that's what happened with my 11-month-old sister. The powerful thing about this story that I'm sharing right now is not more so about my sister's death. It was more so of the grief and the pain that my mother experienced due to the loss of a child. So much so that when I was there in the room and I was asking about my sister, of course, I'm 10 years old, and the impact on the 10 years old, looking at a child not moving, looking blue. I'm not understanding what's happening. But out of nowhere, and out of grief, really, when I was just trying to find out what was happening with my sister, my mother turned to me and said, "You killed my child." And those words had so much of an impact on my life that as I was just trying to live my life, it really shaped my identity, because from that moment, my mother stopped being who she was, which was a mother. Always say that I went from 10 years old to a teenager, a young adult, because I stopped being a kid to now I'm trying to help a parent raise my other siblings. And the responsibilities that was on me was hard. So I experienced abandonment, rejection, so much pain and deep hurt. Even the grief that I experienced carried on with me all throughout the years, because I kept seeking for love. I kept seeking for um, that from my mom, because my dad was not even in my life at that time. And so the words that she would say will be so toxic, to the point that I began to believe it. I began to believe it so much so that when I was 15 years old, about to turn 16, I tried to take my life. Um, and I know that I'm a miracle because the methodology that I tried to do it, it failed. And each and every time that I think about the fact that I know I should not be here, even based off that, it helps me to reflect on the fact that I obviously still have purpose. You see, when life get to life in you guys, the words that you have more meaning than you know. What you say and what you speak and to individuals can have such a great impact in their life to the point it not only began to form their identity, but it creates a mindset that they too some in some cases excuse me, in some cases they can't overcome. And the simple truth is words do hurt, and your words can truly change the outcome of your life. One of the scriptures that is so powerful is Proverbs 18 and 21, where it says that the tongue can bring death or life, and those who love to talk will reap the consequences. And death and life was real for me because all throughout my early teenage life, all throughout my early adult life, I didn't see any value. I kept asking, why was I born? Why was I still here if this is what my life was going to be like? I wasn't in the church. Some people I hear say they grow up in the church. That was not my story. I was this little kid on the west side of of Chicago, just trying to figure out life just as a whole. I was in between two gangs, CVL and Gangster Disciples. So every day, I had to weave this little path. But it was not until I turned 25 is when that's when I started realizing that everything that my mother, the words that she was speaking to me and speaking against me, everything that she was saying was based off of the words that was spoken to her and how she was raised and how she was brought up down from Mississippi. I had a child, my oldest daughter, but then I still didn't understand how to be a true parent. And so I would speak words over my life, even at that time, that easily could have had an impact on my child. One of the things that I know is that I was easily angered, and I had put up these walls and these walls was my defense mechanism. But the one thing that that literally I couldn't stop was this mouth, because I would put myself in danger based off of all of the negative words and the negative things that was spoken against me. James chapter 3, verses 2 to 6 says that the tongue is like a forest of little fires that kindles. And it says it's a world of iniquity. And it says that once the tongue gets started, it says the tongue is so set amongst our members that it defiles the whole body, and it sets on fire the course of nature, and is set on fire by hell. Hurtful words can trigger something on the inside of you that can cause pain, not only in your heart, but pain in your total inner being. And that's what happened to me. The words that was spoken over my life from my mom put me in the cycle of sorrow and put me in the cycle of pain. That means every person that I was dating, I was anticipating for them to hurt me. I was anticipating for them to define me by negative words. All of that shaped my mindset and it shaped my being. It was so powerful to the point that at the age of 30, I was positioning myself once again to give up and to take my life because I couldn't find out and connect with who I was. Those hurtful words activated something on the inside of me to the point that I just wanted to give up. But what is so powerful about understanding this is that just as words can hurt, so can those godly words that can heal. When I was ill with dealing with the lupus and dealing with the renal failure, I just really believe that I would have the support system at that time from my husband. I couldn't believe it when I got home and the first thing I'm seeking was comfort, and I got hit with the word divorce. Those words were so hurtful to the point the imagery, the American dream that I had built up for myself, because I thought I finally got away from the rejection, from the deep hurt, from the pain of the past, to now here I am in my present trying to figure out, how am I going to make it? The person after 15 years that I thought was going to be there to support me, especially after receiving such a negative report, was not my support system. If anything, he was part of the problem. That was the trigger that started me on the journey of breaking free from this cycle of pain, this cycle of sorrow, and trying to find my voice and find who I truly was. Most of my adult life, I had to deal with these hurtful words, and I had to deal with it from not people on the outside, but people that I loved. But Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18, when I read these words, it helped me to start formulating some ideas and some points that's going to move me in the journey towards reclaiming back my voice. And that verse says, some people make cutting remarks, but the words of the wise brings healing. That was the first time that I saw an out to my pain. So I sought counseling. And it was in counseling when I started to begin to see and receive my affirmations, the words that says that I was stronger, the words that says that that which did not break me or kill me made me stronger, the words that would turn around what was spoken over my life since the age of 10. There is a statement made by Nathan Bransford, and this statement says, words only have power if you let them. When I saw that statement, I realized I had it inside of myself to change the trajectory of how words will have an impact of my life. I had it within me to change the negative word, the negative connotations of words, and invoke power words that will build me up. Power words that will change the situation around. And that is when God gave me my line, a broken crayon, still colors. That's when I realized that everything that I went through, from the rejection, from the abandonment, from the negative words that were spoken of my life, was to help me to be able to be a vessel fit for the master's use to help that other young girl on the west side of Chicago, or on the east side of Chicago, or on the north side of Chicago, or on the south side of Chicago, to know, let them know that they have beauty instead of ashes. I had to learn, and I did learn, to accept my flaws, to accept my imperfections, to embrace my cracks, and to define who I was going to be moving forward. That started with change mindset, maximizing, operating in confidence in my full ability that God's given me, my purpose, and forward momentum. So, there are 5 steps that I want to share with you that I hope, if you heard just a little bit of my story, because I actually have this written in my book, From Trigger to Transform. In chapter 3, I actually have that written in my book, and that title is called Words Do Hurt. You can read my story and you see what God did for me and the journey that he took me on. But throughout that journey, there are 5 steps that I put into practice that helped me to begin my journey of inner healing. And I hope that these steps and strategies will help you too. Step number 1, be kind to yourself. You need to begin to practice self-love. Loving on yourself is something, it's wonderful when you begin to see that your cracks and your imperfections, God made you that way. If you was meant to be perfect, then the perfect one would not have came. So you need to take a moment to love on you. Forgive yourself. You got to be able to forgive yourself before you can forgive others. Don't look at your brokenness as something to be sad, but look at the beauty that shines through it. How am I saying that? It's because despite of what I'm going through, I'm still here. And God has shown me favor because I am a walking, living miracle. Number 2, own your truth. True healing only comes when you accept your past hurts and your failures. What do I mean? I had to forgive my mother. I had to forgive my father. I had to forgive myself of feeling like I failed as a big sister. Because to have someone tell you and say to you at 10, you killed my baby, that had such an impact that it changed how the way I connect now, building up these walls. But these walls was my defense mechanism because of the deep hurt that I was feeling on the inside and how I saw myself. So when I began to own my truth, when I began to forgive myself, when I began to forgive others, that is when I began to see that it is okay. That is the moment that inner pain started to heal. Number 3, promote a positive and change mindset. You got to begin to believe in yourself, not what other people say, not because of the fact that you didn't do something or you was able to accomplish something. Begin to believe in you, whether you do it or not. Trust the God that's in you. Because when you trust the God in you, then you can walk boldly and confidently in your area of purpose and influence. Because then that positive mindset is going to be like fire for that next sister friend who just needs to know that they too have value. Number 4, set expectations that works for you based off the desires that God's give you in your heart. This is a heart check now. Your expectation needs to align with his will. Because when you reach the desires that God has set for you, being after God's own heart, then no matter what deep hurt, no matter what pain, no matter what circumstance that you go through, past or present, when you set these expectations, realistic expectation, then you know you can press forward. You know you're going to always move forward with forward momentum. Number 5, speak healing words over yourself. Just as those negative words from others and maybe someone that you love, then based off their pain they projected on you, the rejection they rejected on you, you need to counteract that with healing words for yourself. That means when somebody tell you you dumb and you're not going to make it, like I heard all of my life, I had to go and say, not only am I a champion, not only am I going to make it, but I'm going to be better than I was before. You need to begin to speak those daily affirmations that will reframe the way you see yourself and think about yourself. I stopped seeing myself as that murderer. I stopped seeing myself as the person who was not going to be successful. I stopped seeing myself as a broken woman, a divorcee. I stopped seeing shame. I stopped seeing guilt. Instead, I started operating in power and authority. I started operating as a daughter of the King. Will thou be made whole? When you speak his affirmation and his affirming words over you, you will be made whole. So I hope that you was connecting with me and a little bit of my story. I just felt that it was the moment just to take a moment out, just to share a little bit with you as to why I'm so passionate about what I do and passionate about changing and helping women over 40 reclaim their voice, amplifying their voice, rebuilding their confidence, and maximizing their full potential so that they can fully walk boldly in their divine purpose intentionally so they can accomplish what God is designed for them to do. And so, if there's any words that I've shared today or even throughout this whole series, if it's something that has moved you, that you yourself want to go deeper into connecting and starting to reclaim your own voice, your own value, then I definitely invite you to book a discovery call with me and let us walk together step by step towards our healing and wholeness. And let's rewrite this narrative. Let's create our breakthrough plan together so that we are not only confident, we're not only bold, but then we're reclaiming all. We're living our life victorious and empowered. And with that being said, I want to thank you for allowing me to come to you today, just sharing this little testimony Wednesday with you. Sharing a little bit of my story is not my full story. But then again, if you have not already picked up a copy of my book, From Trigger to Transform, A Journey to Self-Discovery and Purpose, I encourage you to do so. You can get access to it on my website, which is youcanlive.com, and live is spelled Lyve. Or you can go to Amazon. It is on Amazon, and you could be able to, it's on Kindle version as well, Kindle as well as a hard copy. You could pick up your copy today. But then again, stay tuned for my second book, which is coming out, which is called Discover, Decide, and Do, A Christian Woman's Guide to Hope and Resilience. And throughout that book, I share the blueprint of resilience, and I share the journey of what it takes to live a resilient life. And I know that you are going to be encouraged, empowered, and inspired. All throughout this mindset series was bringing some topics from the book. And so stay tuned because the actual release date will be coming up soon. And then you'll get an opportunity to go ahead and purchase your pre-copy of the book before it actually arrives. But again, click on that discovery link. Let me hear from you. And if it's anything resonated with you today, definitely post a comment inside of the comment section so that I can hear your story of what it means about words and how you've changed the narrative or how words impact your life. I look forward to reading that. Definitely follow me on all of my social media platforms, which is on Facebook at Coach Della Mae Major, on Instagram at Coach Della Major, and then on YouTube, you can find me at Reclaim and Live. Again, Live is spelled Lyve with Coach Della Major. Definitely make sure you click on that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you will receive notifications when we come live. And then don't forget, listen to us and the podcast that goes for each and every week. It is called From Trigger to Transform with Coach Della Major. And I'm telling you, the conversations that we have is life-changing, and it is also empowering. I want to thank you for joining me today. See you tomorrow for another lively teaching on our Resilient Living series. And I just can't wait to share with you. God bless and have yourself a phenomenal day. Bye-bye.